So guys, today we're going to talk about the Spoils. Spoils, for those who don't know, is a trading card game created by Arcane Tinman. It's been around since about 2006, and it's kind of in the same line of Magic, but they've got a lot of different game mechanics that were put together to set itself apart from there. I'm a personal fan of it myself. But one of the things that we've found coming into the later years now is that it's hard to bring new people in. And Ken Pilchner, one of the lead game designers for the game, came up with this idea of putting together a box of pre-constructed decks that were better than the earlier versions, and thus the Basic Box of Awesomeness was born. So what did you think?
I thought that the construction of the decks this time was a lot better than the last time. Last time they had a couple pre-con decks. They all came in their own little individual packaging, and it was kind of just a, here's all of our cards in one big kind of pack.
Yeah, they were kind of like, here's the trades, but they, the rogue deck, for example, wasn't very appealing. It was hard to set itself apart from all the other ones. So when I sat down and tried each of the five, I kind of understood how they worked, but it didn't really, none of them stood out to me. Like,
right. Yeah, so this time, with the 39 card decks that they have, they really show you all of the different types of strategies for all the trades. And that's something that I think is definitely needed for bringing newcomers into the game.
Absolutely. What do you think?
And speaking of bringing newcomers into the game, that's a great thing that this card game needs. It needs a growing fan base, and that's exactly what's happening. Especially how they changed with the Basic Box of Awesomeness. And that brings up another valid point, is the artwork. I really enjoyed the artwork of these cards. Yeah, totally. Not only the old stuff, but the new stuff.
Sure.
I mean, especially the fact of, for God's sake, it's a Basic Box of Awesomeness.
It is awesome.
How can you go wrong?
Yeah.
It's the best name ever.
Some great, clever marketing ideas in putting together the name for this box.
Right. And if I haven't played it before, definitely going to play it now.
Oh, yeah.
Just from the view of it.
And you touched on artwork. So one of the things that Ken wanted to do with this is bring a more mass market appeal to the game. And in the earlier versions, you had more of a PG-13 flair. So a lot of the resource cards were, it didn't matter the trade, they all simply had different scantily clad ladies on them. And
bad.
for the 13-year-old in me, it's like, yeah, but you're trying to bring in a wider audience, that can kind of turn them off. And so you're looking at some of these cards that they came up with, the new ones. I mean, they've got some pretty awesome, you're looking here, you got the Rogue deck. It looks really outlandish and carnival style, much like the theme of all the Rogue decks. Hardcore. And then you got the greed guys who are all about money. And you got these crazy guys throwing dollar bills around and stuff. So, there is tons of good artwork coming out of these. And I really hope that they continue on this path and start looking at revamping the next generation of cards and the next sets to really build upon this. Because I got to tell you, looking at these cards, dude, I would buy it. I'm a very art-centric kind of guy, and game mechanics second. I could lose all day if I got such beautiful cards to look at. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I don't think they need any sort of mimicky, scantily clad
not at all
cards at all. Because this artwork is just that amazing.
Absolutely. So, is there anything you weren't really a fan of this?
Well, one of the things I'm not really a fan of is, there's players out there who have played other trading card games. Like you said before, it's in comparison to Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. So players who have played that before and they come into this, they already have a concept of how to build a deck, how to really manipulate the other player. And it's not really a fair advantage to the new players until they get a grasp of what's going on. So, I'd almost look at it as this is a great way to start. If you just say, here, you started with Magic, but you can just grab a deck and play, so you're not overwhelmed by.
And I think I get what you mean. You're trying to look at these as a selling point for the launch pad of getting into the game. And to the trading card guys, to the experienced guys, like the Magic players who come, why should I spend my money on this? They're going to look at this and say, well, I expect a little more out of my pre-con. I want something I'm going to take to an event and just stomp. And these aren't it. Like, the decks for these are really designed around showing you the true potential of those trades, but not actually putting it at such a point where one is going to be just overpowered onto another. Yeah. Now, other more experienced people playing the Spoils could probably take these decks and come around really effective with them. But the real goal for these is to provide challenge between all of the decks so that, you know, if I'm a new guy and you're a new guy and you're a new guy, we're going to sit down and play this game, I'm not worried about immediately dying or getting just stomped in these games and not understanding why. They provide a very straightforward set of rules that tend to, you know, not overly complicate things off the bat, so I can get the good grasp of how things are going. You know what I mean? And I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So
yeah. One of the things that I'd like to mention too is, you know, the way the box is put together, I don't necessarily like. There's a giant foam pad in the middle of it to kind of just hold all the cards nice and snug. And I get the idea is to have a cool box to put all your new cards in that you're going to purchase. But I feel like in the old constructed decks, each of them had their own little cardboard container.
Yeah.
And it kind of held everything nice. I mean, after we started playing with them for a while and messing them all up, it kind of sucked that I didn't have those cards still put together nice in a nice little package.
Absolutely. If there's one thing I would love to see in this is if we're not getting card dividers in there, I think seeing, you know, a deck list so that when we do get the mix and match, we maybe throw in extra cards, we know exactly what to do when we need to put it back together so we can show a new group how to play the game.
And they do have it online too.
Yep, they do. Speaking of those separators, I think, you know, going back to these the beautiful card art they got going on, I think it would be even better to show off by throwing a couple of those card separators that show off those different factions with some extra fan-based art. You know, I think it'd be beautiful.
Absolutely. Even if it was maybe a couple bucks more, I'd spend the money for it.
Totally.
Yep.
Fill it up with more awesomeness.
Just to show off the sheer awesomeness of it.
So, my buddy, what do you think overall?
For this actually being one of my first trading card games I've ever played, it's a great game. I enjoyed it when I first picked up and played it at Gen Con 2 years ago. I mean, it was really hard to grasp because I did get stomped right out of the gate, but after playing it a couple times, understanding how the game worked, great game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll continue to buy packs just to get more of a feel of the game.
Sure. Brandon?
You know, I come from that Magic background, and I already have a constructed deck that I spent over $100 on. And I gotta say, I love these mechanics. The game plays so uniquely, and I think that this Basic Box of Awesomeness is even great for someone like me to play who's already has a constructed deck because it comes with super cool rares and foil cards. And so that's something that I always look forward to.
Yeah, for me, I think they fully achieved what they were looking for with this. I mean, you guys all know I sat down with a group of 8 to 10 people, some of which who have never played a trading card game, and we were able to sit with this and show them it, and they got interested in it, interested enough that they want to do more and explore beyond that. And so, yeah, I think this is a beautiful setup. I think the only thing that's missing is, you know, minor little nitpicks, is having a little sheet there for all the card deck list and maybe a couple of dividers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly achieved the word awesome with this. I'm a fan of it. So
it owned up to its name.
Absolutely. So if you like what you see, you can certainly subscribe to our Noobspeak channel. And for everybody else, I'm Christopher, this is Brandon, this is Jeremy. We'll catch you guys later.
See you next time.
Gosh, I'm trying to figure out how to intro this. It's a Korean strategy card game that's it's a Korean strategy card game that's more a mixture of the both. It's a steampunk. God, I can't even think of how to explain this.
A strategic Korean steampunk tactical card game.
Isn't that literally what it says on the back?
See, this is what I'm not
Wait,
no, it doesn't even say
you
that.
gotta be. What is this? You're like you got this all down.
We're joined by Gordon Lugauer of the Board Game Barrister, and we're going to talk about Choreo. It's a strategic tactical card game developed by Moonster and published by Asmodee, and it takes place in this kind of steampunkish 10th century Korean universe, but you really don't even need to worry about that.
Who cares?
What's that?
It's got cool cards. They have colors and numbers and special powers.
Absolutely.